Hello, my little ice cubes, and welcome. It is I, your big only sis, Calla Nevermelt, with yet another episode review of Dan. However, though, I do want to first off start by saying I am sorry for not having the other episode before this episode made. Again, kind of busy with this and that, and well, I apologize. However, this time around, when the new episode comes out this week, I will try to make the video as soon as possible. But with that being said, let us get started. So, what you need to know is the last episode is Momo, of course, works at a maid cafe, which is absolutely adorable. However, the main focus, or rather the important part of that entire episode, was basically the guy that Seiko ordered is talking about how much of a burden the evil eye is, due to the fact that despite how hard Gigi is trying to hold him back and control him, he is having more trouble than he should, and because of that, chaos ensues. And thanks to plot convenience, Momo was able to save herself from being attacked by the evil eye. Oh, also one other thing, Eri wasn't supposed to be in that episode. She's not in the manga, but I think it's a good idea that they did put her there due to the fact that, or rather, she wasn't in that scene, mind you. But I think it's a good thing due to it explains why, she followed Okran to the to the school with Trovo Granny, since Trovo Granny did say that she would help Okran get stronger due to her power is hella strong, and he is only just using a fraction of it. Now, whether that's true or not is debatable, but we get to this scene, or this episode, where apparently if you play the piano at 2 a.m., the ghosts of famous musicians will attack you. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you, this episode, as well as this fight, was absolutely batshit insane. This is by far the most weirdest and wildest anime fight, maybe top 10 if not 5, but I digress. So, again, it seems that the ghost, Beethoven, uses domain expansion to create this whole, domain spirit world for them to fight in, and they send musical notes at, basically at all 3 of them, to which they have to dodge. Now, I do love these attacks, due to the rest note causes you to freeze, while the other notes are basically explosions. I do love the sheer creativity, how each musical note has its special ability, or rather just 2 abilities. Very creative, very interesting, and again, very insane. But we get basically the musicians, who, by the way, all look like Funko Pops for whatever reason. This was a design choice. Tatsu, I honestly want to know, of all the designs, why did you get them the giant heads of, maybe not Funkos, but more so of, bubble heads? But anywho, again, I digress. So, it seems that, basically they are on the ropes. Eri is doing a great job with dodging, to which Okran is kinda, bummed out due to she's doing much better than he is. And remember, he wants to get stronger. He wants to get better. However, though, he's doing that self-doubt, to which Trovo Granny basically says, hey, dumbass, stop doubting yourself and focus. Focus on the notes. And I do love this part where Trevor Granny says, no, just focus on a musical beat. It doesn't have to be a beat, musical beat that you like. It can be something you don't like, so long as you have something to, go off on. To which Okran is like, he doesn't listen to music, which, I'm sorry, what the hell? You don't listen to music, my dude? Like, that was absolutely just, insane, to be honest with you. But anywho, I digress. So, as he's trying to think, how, what music can he go by, he, conveniently enough, thinks about the Hayashi band that was playing, the other day. And he loved them. He enjoyed their music and that beat. To which he then, goes with that. And lo and behold, they are able to defeat one of the musicians. Now, I do gotta say, this next part, while yes, this whole entire battle itself is insane, this next part is even more insane. Because each of the musicians are playing, I assume, a certain, a certain song from their respective genre, the respective person who they're based on. Again, I'm not a music major, so I don't really know everything about Beethoven and all the other musicians. So, excuse me on that. But again, I assume each one that they're playing is something from their respective, actual human counterpart, where they are known for that. But as they're playing, all of a sudden their domain expansion turns into another domain, to which it is now a gigantic opera room. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is where it gets even more batshit insane. Because we have giants coming out of the ground, and we have about 4 of them who start to sing opera. And their eyes never blink, by the way. They do not blink, which makes them even more creepy than they already are. But what makes it even more disturbing is, as they're singing, they bend down, and, well, all of a sudden, I guess you could say shadow audiences are, coming out of their mouths. Again, this battle is just... Only Dandadaaaaan can make this work, right? Only Dandadaaaaan could make this make sense. Dragon Ball Z couldn't do it. Now, maybe JoJo, maybe One Piece, but this right here, it's just absolutely insane, and I love every second of it. So, as again, the shadow audience are attacking, they're basically, doing the whole, power by numbers thing, where they're trying to overrun Okran and, Ari. And so, as they're fighting their way through, Triple Granny says, hey, these are just basically cannon fodder, and you got to focus on the main, characters, the main antagonists. And so they're, on stage playing, and so as they attack, Airi decides she is going to handle the giants. And I gotta say, I really love how she, went up against them. Also, I do want to point out that I just love that she and Okran got to team up together. Because honestly, I enjoy seeing when 2 characters who maybe have something in common or don't, team up to take care of a boss. That way they can bond some more, they can get to know each other a bit more. I always enjoyed that. But anywho, so as she's basically smoking the giants, she knocks one down, and again, as this giant dude is laying on the ground, he's still singing, and again, he doesn't blink, and it's still just disturbing as hell. But as Okran is going up against the remainder of the musicians, he remembers what Trouble Granny was talking about. The whole, 5-beat, 2-step thing, the own tempo. And so as he finally realizes what he has to do, he's finally able to beat all of the musicians and send them, well, basically back to their paper form. To which, everything goes back to normal, and we find out about something about them. They're not, I guess you could say, yokai per se, they're not ghosts. Apparently, according to Turbo Granny, they are created by the manifestations of fear. In other words, that negative energy goes into their, I guess, painting, and well, they obtain sentience. However, in order to summon them, you have to play the piano at 2 a.m. And as Turbo Granny, oh, by the way, so I love that when she's called out, like you're trying to kill us, Turbo Granny just says, "Of course I am. I'm always trying to kill you dumbasses." To which she steps on the piano key by mistake, and well, they have to do that shit all over again. Thankfully, though, we don't have to see the fight. We just know that this is thankfully a comedic moment than a serious one. But I did enjoy this fight. The, team up, the learning to get stronger, and also this again is the most insane fight I have ever witnessed in anime. But with that being said, though, we jump back to where Momo and Seiko is. Basically, again, the guy that Seiko ordered to take care of Momo and them back at the spa is saying, "Hey, listen, you know, this this is too much. The evil eye is a burden. He's a hindrance. They're not always going to be around to, put him in his place, to hold him back. And so he is going to make the conscious effort to exorcise the evil eye." Gigi says nothing. Momo tries to stand up for the evil eye, and Seiko sadly doesn't say anything either. And I gotta say, this was very, heartbreaking, due to it's like, dude, she literally called him, a part of the family. Not only that, but Gigi even said that, he is trying his best to control the evil eye. And again, the episode before this, we see that he has a good grasp on the control. But sadly, though, he does slip. And when he does slip, the evil eye takes advantage and causes chaos. So, as we see that this decision is quote-unquote finalized, Okuran comes back and says, "Hey, nah, Gigi, I want to, fight the evil eye." Now, mind you, I know what's going to happen. I know what's going to happen, but what I love about this scene is that Okuran has a newfound respect for Gigi. Gigi is a good person at the end of the day. He doesn't want to, cause anyone any misery, and he understands the evil eye isn't just some, evil, vicious serial killer or whatever. That's the reason why he became what he is. And so, Okuran wants to help him, which again is amazing. Plus, I love that these two, their bond is becoming stronger. And so, he gets Eri to splash Gigi with cold water, and we get a little fight scene before the end credit. Now, honestly, I know what's going to happen. However, though, I am just absolutely, positively hyped to see, it in action. Plus, in a few weeks, or maybe week after next, I don't know, but we're gonna see the man, the myth, the legend, the GOAT. But with that being said and done, this episode overall was pretty good. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Plus, please follow me on all my socials. And until next time, my little ice cubes, thank you.